Have you ever just stared up at the night sky and wondered what it would actually be like to take the ultimate leap into the abyss? I mean, picture this. You're stepping off the edge of your spacecraft, leaving the quiet vacuum of space behind and plummeting directly into Jupiter, the undisputed king of our solar system. But here's the kicker. There is no ground waiting to catch you, no solid surface to stand on, just an endless, churning void. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack the absolute extremes of this gas giant. Because, it looks majestic and beautiful from afar, but up close, it is a completely different, terrifying story.
So, what happens next? Would you sink? Would you burn? Or would something even stranger happen to you? It's a seriously terrifying hypothetical descent. The very second you commit to this one-way journey, you are surrendering yourself to an environment that just defies human comprehension. You're entering a realm that pushes the absolute boundaries of extreme physics, a place where the very laws of nature begin to feel, well, completely alien.
Now, to even begin to wrap our heads around what you're falling into, we have to grasp the sheer, colossal scale of this world. 1,300. That is the number of entire Earths that could comfortably fit inside Jupiter. It's mind-blowing. As you drift closer, you wouldn't just feel like you were falling. You'd feel this overwhelming, inescapable pull. You're being aggressively dragged into a gravitational behemoth so incredibly massive that it actually possesses its own miniature solar system of orbiting moons. The sheer kinetic energy of its gravity well would accelerate your descent to mind-boggling speeds literally before you even touched a single cloud.
Here on Earth, we're pretty used to having a solid surface, right? We have calm ground to build our lives on, a crust of rock that gives us a very clear boundary between the sky and the planet itself. But Jupiter offers no terra firma, zero, because it's a gas giant. Trying to land here quickly turns into a continuous, nightmarish freefall through churning, bottomless layers of gas and increasingly bizarre states of matter. You don't land on Jupiter. You simply sink into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. We can break down this terrifying descent into three distinct phases. Phase 1, first contact. Phase 2, the crushing zone. And finally, Phase 3, the core.
So, starting with Phase 1, first contact, the violent atmosphere.
The literal moment you cross the threshold of space and hit Jupiter's upper atmosphere, the danger level spikes off the charts. This is definitely not a gentle skydive. You are dropping straight into the most turbulent and violent weather system imaginable anywhere in our cosmic neighborhood. Instantly, you'd be deafened by the roar of surging winds topping out at over 400 miles per hour. Just to put that into perspective, that is vastly faster than the most devastating Category 5 hurricanes we've ever recorded on Earth. You'd be plummeting past gigantic, towering clouds made up of ammonia, water ice, and hydrogen. And hey, if your trajectory brought you in near the equator, you might just find yourself swallowed whole by the Great Red Spot. This iconic, raging anticyclone is a storm so incomprehensibly huge that it could easily swallow the entire planet Earth whole, and it's been churning violently like this for centuries. The turbulence alone would threaten to tear any conventional spacesuit entirely to pieces.
As you sink deeper, past those majestic, swirling cloud tops, the environment shifts from violently turbulent to just straight-up hostile. The friction of your descent builds exponentially. The atmosphere around you grows incredibly dense, creating this impenetrable wall of gas, and the temperatures just start skyrocketing. Honestly, no spacecraft built today could survive this. Our most advanced robotic probes, like NASA's Galileo probe back in 1995, were utterly crushed, melted, and eventually vaporized by these extreme conditions just a tiny fraction of the way into their descent. The sheer density of the atmosphere literally rips metal apart.
Which brings us to Phase 2, the crushing pressure zone.
By now, the sunlight from above is entirely gone. You've plunged into total, suffocating, absolute darkness. And here, the physical forces acting on your body escalate to truly incomprehensible levels. Millions. That is how many times stronger the atmospheric pressure here becomes compared to Earth at sea level. Imagine the weight of a dozen adult elephants standing on every single square inch of your body. Let that sink in for a second. At these extreme depths, the immense, compounded weight of hundreds of miles of heavy gas above you pushes down with such staggering ferocity that human biology and even the strongest reinforced titanium would be crushed out of existence long before you ever reach the center. But, for the sake of this scientific thought experiment, let's just imagine you're encased in some magical, indestructible vessel and you just keep falling into the dark.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how, under this mind-boggling pressure, the thick gas around you forces even basic chemical elements to just break the rules of physics as we know them. Take hydrogen. Normally, it's a lightweight, invisible gas. But down here, it gets squeezed so tightly that its electrons actually break free. It transforms into liquid metallic hydrogen. It's a highly rare state of matter where it behaves so strangely, suddenly able to conduct massive amounts of electricity and flowing sort of like a liquid metal. So you're no longer falling through gas, you're literally sinking through a massive, churning, pitch-black ocean of electrified metallic fluid. And it's exactly this swirling, conductive ocean that generates Jupiter's immensely powerful magnetic field, crackling with electrical currents in the absolute dark.
And that leads us to our final destination, Phase 3, Jupiter's mysterious deep core.
If you could somehow miraculously survive those 400-mile-per-hour winds, the extreme heat, and the crushing, electrified depths of that metallic ocean, you would eventually arrive at the very center of the gas giant. This is the ultimate destination of our free fall. But what exactly is down there in the absolute dark? Well, scientists are actively debating two leading models right now. On one hand, we have the rocky core model. This suggests a dense, solid center of heavy elements compressed under unimaginable heat and pressure, maybe a chunk of rock and exotic ice 10 times the mass of Earth. On the other hand, we have the diluted core model. This model argues the core isn't a solid sphere at all. Instead, it's this chaotic, fuzzy boundary where core materials literally dissolve and blend right into the surrounding metallic hydrogen, kind of like a massive swirling soup. The absolute truth of what actually lies at the bottom, it remains one of planetary science's most profound mysteries.
Okay, let's take a collective deep breath, zoom out from our terrifying descent, and shift our perspective back to the solid, calm ground of home. Why does this chaotic, violent world even matter to us? So the crucial point is that having this massive, extreme gas giant looming in our local cosmic neighborhood is incredibly beneficial and maybe even essential for our own survival. Jupiter's enormous gravity actively influences dangerous asteroids and comets. It basically acts as a massive cosmic vacuum cleaner, or this powerful gravitational shield for the inner planets. It's constantly pulling in or deflecting dangerous space debris that might otherwise be on a direct collision course with Earth. We actually saw this happen in spectacular fashion back in 1994 when the Shoemaker-Levy 9 comet was torn apart and swallowed whole by Jupiter's immense gravity. Without Jupiter standing guard out there in the outer solar system, actively taking hits for us, life on Earth might have faced far more catastrophic extinction-level impacts throughout our planet's history.
We so often look at Jupiter through our telescopes and just marvel at its swirling, distant beauty. I mean, those bands of amber and white evoke the sense of quiet majesty. But up close? As we've explored in today's explainer, the reality is starkly different and incredibly hostile. It is truly a world of crushing pressure, violent storms, and unanswered mysteries. It is undeniably one of the most magnificent, yet violently extreme places in our entire solar system.
Which leaves us with a final lingering thought. If we ever developed the magical, indestructible technology required to actually survive the plunge, to withstand the pressure of a million oceans and the heat of a star's surface, would you explore Jupiter? Knowing what you know now about the roaring 400-mile-per-hour winds, the pitch-black liquid metallic oceans, and that crushing abyss, would you take the ride into the unknown? Let me know what you think, and drop a comment below with your answer. I'd love to read them.
If you enjoyed diving into the cinematic extremes of our universe today, make sure to hit that subscribe button for Curious Orbit. We're dedicated to bringing you more premium science mysteries, exploring the unknown, and unpacking the cosmos one fascinating explainer at a time. Thank you so much for joining me today, and as always, keep looking up.